Hello everyone and welcome to Hill Street. Today's story is I Am Made from Clay. If you end up enjoying this story, please leave a like. And if you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe and become a resident of Hill Street and let me know how I'm doing in the comments. Now, let's get to this nightmare. I was not alive. A statue of a figure in a dim room. A skylight above, open to the world and its elements, lights up its form. I was nothing. The first thing I knew was her touch. Before my birth, the world didn't exist to me. I could neither hear, nor smell, nor see. I was stuck in an unmoving sleep from which no one could wake me. I did not know touch. I did not know light. I was serene until that woman kissed me on the cheek, transforming me, waking me. Suddenly sound, light, and temperature bombarded my senses. The second thing I knew was the taste of my mouth, spit, and the thirst spread across my developing tongue. My taste buds shriveled. I thought only of water for days, until finally it dripped down my face. Rain poured in from the skylight above, a blessing from the moon, or so I innocently thought. The third thing I knew was pain. Did you know that your body is constantly processing pain? Every single thing you feel and do could hurt you if it weren't for the protective shield of your life experience. You grow up getting used to the agony of digestion, the constant headache just behind your eyes, your joints grinding together with every movement you make. For me, becoming aware was like 10,000 knives thrusting deep into my skin. The fourth thing I knew was praise. Slowly, I began to hear their voices, one deep, something I've never been able to imagine on my own. The other sweet and fluttery, two halves of a whole, bound by something so small, their mutual love for staring at me, an object of desire, the epitome of what was best fitted to be ogled, a naked woman. The fifth thing I knew was anger. At first, I accepted it as a part of what I was, but then I was able to see. She came to me, brown hair, blue eyes, thin, and covered in paint. Those eyes were too big for her face, and even more so when they opened wide to observe me. She spoke. If I'd been able to move, I would have cringed. Pain shot through my skull as she squealed. She jumped. I envied her powers of expression. If they would know how angry I was, would they have destroyed me? Then he came and peered into my eyes. He got so close my vision went blurry, dryness, another kind of pain. Then put some kind of solution in my eyes, but only once, and then forgot about the red veins protruding about my irises. My frustration was only shielded by the newfound beating of my heart. If I had a heart, if I had blood, then I could bleed. Deep red liquid leaked down my cheeks. The sixth thing I knew was shame. The woman would stare at the sticky liquid in awe. The man would wipe the tears away. I didn't understand what he was saying, but I think he was angry. Something had gotten in the way of my beautiful face. He scrubbed at the clay that was slowly becoming my skin, scraping off parts of me, just to remove the stains. I would look at him. I hoped he would see the turmoil in my eyes, understand the terror as tears flooded each waterline. He would look, and he would smile. I wanted to hurt him. They would touch me, poke me, and try to bend my limbs. Finally able to use my eyelids, I would shut them. They had no boundaries, for they were my creators. But I did. I hated the way they touched me. The seventh thing I knew was relief. My skin softened. I could move in such small increments that at first neither of them noticed. That was until one night. It took hours, bending my arms, bending my limbs, learning to control my balance, and getting a sense of distance was the hardest thing I have done in my short life. I had seen them both sitting. I had envied this action so much, it had taken over most my thoughts. I stared at the chair placed in front of me, the one they used to stare at me. It called to me, louder and louder as time went by. Neither of them noticed my eyes fixed on the thing, or the clattering of plaster as I knocked over a bust. Jolts of electricity caused sudden twitches. I didn't care about the possibility of cutting myself, or the repercussions of breaking something the man found so dear. I sat. My butt sank into the cushion. The strain of holding myself up was released. I moaned. I slept soundly for the first time. When I woke in the morning, both of them looking down at me, smiling. She was full of joy. He was plotting. The eighth thing I knew was violation. They gave me a bed. I would sleep in it each night. They gave me clothes to wear. I would slowly put them on. The woman began teaching me a few words. Yes, no, and please. She fed me baby food and milk. My body filled. The man noticed. I won't tell you the details. I rather spare you and I of such a disgusting recounting. But when I awoke to find a new pain, my confusion gave way to vomit. The rage that had been building in my motionless body exploded into destructive muscles, and I destroyed all of the man's things. Even the chair lay in pieces. I wanted to kill him. No, both of them. She knew what he had done. I could see it in her smug expression. Now, I was the one plotting. The ninth thing I knew was vengeance. They both slept in their beds, soundly, as if nothing in this world could threaten them, especially not their own creation. He slept naked, in the heat, and exposed himself for anyone to see. He was snoring, drunk, and his eyelids flickered. I hated how cloudy he made my vision. Her short brown hair laid flat against her pillow, and her skin was sweaty. My anger did not burn as brightly for her. No, he would be first. I stood over him, hesitating. Could I really kill someone? I thought of what he'd done to me, how it felt for your maker to make you his. To kill him was to be born again. I lifted the pointed chisel, standing over him in a seldom held position of absolute power. I'd never felt such a rush. I swung down with all my strength. The first time I missed, and the chisel slipped off his forehead and into the bed. He groaned in pain. I lifted higher and aimed more purposefully. I struck him in his right eye. Blood spilled out of his head. I flipped the chisel around, noticing the back of it was slightly pointed, all the easier to bludgeon him with. He screamed and lifted his hand to block my volley. It didn't matter. My joy overpowered his fear. When she woke up, I barely noticed. She jumped off the bed, screaming as loud as she could. It only added to my mania. Splatter flew up onto my face. Brain matter squished in his now softened skull. The 10th thing I knew was heartbreak. She came to me. I was crying. She took my arm in hand and pulled me away. I dropped the chisel. She screamed, "No!" My hands wrapped around her neck. It was slender and brittle. I could feel her life draining from her. The weaker she was, the more powerful I became. How could she not hate this man? He deserved this gruesome death. He deserved to be killed by me, over and over again for eternity. "Yes," I answered. Her eyes rolled back. Fire rolled down my arms and into my hands. The strain, a pain I found oh so familiar. The taste of spit, of blood. I could take her life and escape with my own. She said a word I knew, but that she hadn't taught me. It was like warm milk and reminded me of her motherly kindness, her whispering voice, those tender hands moving my joints and massaging my muscles. I hated her. She abused me and let the worst thing happen to me. She wasn't just my creator. She was my mother. The last thing I knew was forgiveness. I relaxed the grip on her neck and caught her as she fell forward onto me. Her gentle voice murmured to me the word she hadn't taught me, the word that I knew. It was my name. She said this name as many times as I tolerated hearing it. "Please," I told her. She embraced me as her daughter for the first time. I wept like a baby. Now I know many things. A woman, full of life in a well-lit room, reading a book and sipping coffee. Golden showers of light flutter around her, glowing, approving. I am alive.